Hi everyone, I'm Trina from Atlas Yoga and Movement, and I'm here with my friend Tracey telling us about her new book, Shit Yogis Shouldn't Say, right? I love that it's a mouthful, and I can't wait to hear more about it, so.
Well, thanks for having me by, Trina. First of all, I love your studio space. It's so inviting and really nice space to be in tonight. Yeah, my book, I actually, it looks like shit, but the I is...
Oh, you're right. I love it.
It's an exclamation point. So, you know, I don't know how you say that, but yes. Yogis Shouldn't Say is basically, I started writing this book after I closed my yoga studio that I had for 22 years, and I had a lot of feelings about a lot of things, and I just started writing, so it was kind of a cathartic piece. And then I put it away for a couple of years, and last year I pulled it out and I looked at it and I said, oh, it's got some really good bones to it, and I just kind of finished it out. So it's, you know, I want people, my whole goal has always been to show people yoga and other holistic things that can help heal their lives, helps transform their lives to the positive, but make it accessible for people. It doesn't have to be this, you know, highfalutin thing where you have to go off to India, to the ashram for, you know, 4 years and study in a cave or whatever. Like, you know, people have these ideas of what yoga or yogis are. And I think that these are tools that these ancient seers, these rishis, they developed thousands of years ago, but they're very applicable to modern day stuff. So when people get too excited about, well, you can't do this and do yoga, or you shouldn't say that and do yoga, it just really...
Yeah, or you're not a yogi if you also a XYZ.
Exactly, exactly. So I don't enjoy people that come to the practice that way, pushing that view on me. If that works for them, that's fine. But I think I always take more of a Buddhist middle path type way. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying, you know, take a vice to the extreme, but I'm saying, you know, there's a way to live life in a balance, in a neutral way. And so in the book, what I do is I plunk down a little nugget of a title, and then I dive into yogically behind that, right? Maybe I talk about asanas, which are the postures, or maybe I talk about breath, or maybe I talk about some meditation, whatever these kind of like points of yoga, does it support saying that? So it's definitely meant to be lighthearted. I'm a Jersey girl. I curse. I'm very direct. That's how we are. I'm also Gen X. That's how we are. So, you know, it's just I threw all that down, and I said, this is who I am, and based on my, you know, I don't know, 25, 30 years of experience in teaching yoga and teaching others what yoga means, I think we can be a little bit more generous about our thought process on all of these things.
So would you say this book, like, is it the type of book you read from front to back? Can you go back and reread those little nuggets that you were talking about and those subjects?
I think so. I don't think you can, like, I think you could start by just picking a place. I mean, read the preface for sure, because that gives you a lot of information, but then the table of contents gives you a list of chapters.
Okay.
And, you know, like, I'll throw a couple out to you just so you can get an idea, a flavor for the book. Like, one of the chapters is, does my ass look fat in these Lululemons? So maybe you start there. Maybe that tickles you. You know, one of them's my third eye is blocked. You know, so you know, you kind of you can pick something, and then it'll kind of go into, okay, you know, what is a yogic principle that we can look to either support or negate that comment, that thought, that
thought that statement.
And so I think you learn a little bit about yoga in the process, and I hope you laugh a lot. I hope that you find it humorous. But already, if you're listening to this and being a little judgy, it's not for you.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
That's a really great point. If you're like, what the fuck is that about,
It's not for you.
Yeah.
It's not for you.
Yeah.
But if you're like, you know what, I'm a real person, and I have real problems, and my life is not easy, and I don't pretend to be perfect. I've never said I'm perfect,
Yeah.
and I think we're all just, to quote others, perfectly imperfect, and we should embrace those idiosyncrasies about ourselves, and also our authenticity. What makes us true and real, and that, that vibe attracts your tribe. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
You attract the people that get that. So, yeah, if you don't get that, if you don't get that vibe right now, peace.
I do. One of the biggest reasons when Tracey posted this and she's like, I have a new book out, and I saw the title, I was like, oh, we definitely have to talk about this and host something and discuss this book, because I feel this way often, even when people come into class here, is, they're like, oh, well, you're so calm. I can never be as calm as you are. And I'm like, well, you also don't know other parts of me outside of, the yoga classroom or outside of work or certain environments. And I feel like I've come so far in my yoga practice that it's great to know that people only see this one calm, has got her shit together aspect of a yogi that I appear before them, but it's really, it's not the full truth.
Sure.
Because we, just like you were saying, like, live our life in balance. There's so many other parts of us that that make up who we are. So being able to understand that, I almost feel like if we came to understand that more, it will make our practice even more meaningful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have to agree with all what you said, for sure.
Well, you have other books, so where can we find all of your offerings?
All of my books, I don't know if you can see them, but I have a couple of books called The Accidental Yogini Kristen, The Accidental Yogini Padma. Kristen was actually the first self-published book, well, not really the first, but it's one of the first that I put out, and the idea was, this is a girl that's got a lot going on, she's a hot mess, and somebody recommends yoga to her. That's sort of what happened to me, but this is not autobiographical. This is like a bunch of all my students over the years, both of them. They're like, pieces of other people. But I came to yoga the same way, and someone said, let's try it, and I would have never done it if she didn't say, we'll go out to dinner after, and we'll make it a weekly thing. And I was like, all right, I'm into that.
Right, like my yoga and beer events.
Yeah. So I said, okay. So this same thing with this girl, she really was reluctant, and she stepped into it, but then in a short period of time, she noticed, oh, this feels better, that's getting easier, my mindset is sort of changing, what's happening to me? And then she dives into this practice, it becomes transformational for her. And then the same thing with Padma, it's just a different heroine, and this one is now an Indian American girl, and she had a grandmother that was into yoga, but she never learned it, so there's this kind of like this little family secret as to why that wasn't brought into her life. She winds up going back to the motherland, to India, and getting into yoga, and changes her life for the positive. So these are fiction books, and they're real easy reads with like sprinkles of yoga philosophy throughout. So it's like if you're sitting at the beach or you're hanging out, you just want to read a chapter or read something really light, these would be those books. And same with Shit Yogis Shouldn't Say. It's a small book. It's not that big. It's kind of thin. So you can, read a chapter pretty quickly. In fact, when you self-publish, you read your book like a million times during the editing process. You go over and over and over and over and over. So like I would read the whole book in maybe 4 or 5 hours, and and that's editing
Yeah.
and going back through. So it doesn't take terribly long
Mm-hmm.
to read through it, but I think to your point, you can drop into that one anywhere.
Yeah. And I love it. It almost seems like a really good starting off point for like more conversations
Yeah.
based of all of those thoughts.
Yeah, I actually started to put a workshop together that went with this. So I need to get back to that a little bit,
Mhm.
because I think that there's definitely like we can get on our mat and we can explore some of the things that I talk about
yeah.
in here, and then open it up for refreshments and discussion after.
That sounds
So
awesome.
yeah, maybe we'll do that here.
For sure.
I don't know.
Cool. Well, I'm so grateful that you came in,
Thank you.
and I'm excited to dive into this, and also just I feel like every time we learn something, we know that there's more to learn, and
Right.
that's kind of where I'm at with my practice. So I think this just again is another tool, like you said, to keep exploring,
Yeah,
because that's what it's about.
that's all it's about. Just keep going, and the things that work for you or you resonate with, you take them in, and the rest you just let it go.
Yeah, it's like collecting your own toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
So finding the tools that work for what you're trying to build, and
Right.
stick them in your back pocket. And
That's it.
awesome.
That's it. And if you do read the book and you do like it, I appreciate giving a really good review on Amazon, because that always
Awesome.
like helps with the
That's
self-publishing
good to know.
algorithms in the background. So I
Cool.
always ask people to give not just a 5-star review, but like a blurb about it.
Yeah.
So I help.
So I'll post where you everybody can find you, but do you want to share like your website?
Yeah, I mean, my website is oneyogacenter.net, and it's all spelled out ONE, oneyogacenter.net. And you can get books from me directly, which I'll happily sign and mail to you. Or you can go right on Amazon, and I have an author's page. So
Okay.
if you searched Amazon for my name, or maybe we'll put the link to my
Mhm.
Amazon page, you can always buy them there. In fact, I think the Accidental Yogini books are set up so if you have like a Kindle Direct account,
Oh,
you can download them for free, I think. If you don't have the account, then there's a Kindle version or a paperback version
Okay.
that you can get off of
Cool.
Amazon.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
and who knows, maybe one day they'll be in every Barnes and Noble, and
Everywhere.
I see this as a Netflix series. So I think they're building that big Netflix
Yeah.
in New Jersey.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Like, it's
you're like, I'm just gonna slip this right.
It's like a
out
half an
there.
hour for me in this huge movie production studio. I'm definitely, I was a film major in school, so I know how to write scripts,
Right.
and I think I'm going to eventually do that and
I love
try
it.
to send it in. Who knows? Maybe you'll see it on Netflix one day.
Very cool.
We'll see.
Yep.
Thank you, Trina.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Namaste.
Namaste.
That's a chapter too.